Following my comments, immediately following my comments, and I know Councilmember Jack Christie will make some remarks, and then we will move from there. I would certainly want to thank all of the council members, the Mayor Pro Tem, the Vice Mayor Pro Tem, and all of the other council members for standing with us today. I want to thank representatives of all three employee pension groups for being present, police, municipal workers, as well as fire, and thank all of you. Today is a very special day for the city of Houston. All three city employee pension systems have now signed off on the previously announced package of pension reforms. Yeah, come on, you can.
I was just about ready to.
Now, my voice is a little hoarse, so I don't want that to dampen my enthusiasm for this day. This is a historic turning point in what has been months of good faith negotiations by both sides. For the first time ever, all three pension systems have been willing to work with the city in a very productive manner. We're all on the same page and moving forward as a united front. I am proud of how far we have come since January, and want to thank the employee groups for recognizing that maintaining the status quo is not an acceptable option if we are to be able to continue to meet our pension obligations to employees and our responsibility to provide services to a growing population. Let me highlight some of the things from the very beginning. The plan that will be presented to the City Council on Wednesday does not call for a tax rate increase to pay for this plan. The plan itself is budget neutral. Secondly, no retiree check for police, municipal workers, or fire. No retiree check will be decreased as a result of this plan. Thirdly, for all of the employees of the City of Houston, as well as all of the retirees, this plan establishes a reliable and sustainable pension system for the City of Houston, which means you don't have to, if you're a retiree, you don't have to worry about going to your mailbox and not seeing a check down the road. Or if you're planning on retiring, at least this establishes a reliable and sustainable pension system. And four, as we all agreed to at the very beginning, when we started these negotiations, it was very clear that employees wanted to stay with the defined benefit plan, and we are doing just that. I know this has been stressful for city employees. I want to thank each of you I want you to know that I appreciate your service and dedication, and I'm committed to ensuring you have a secure and sustainable pensions you can rely on for years to come. And I know every member of the City Council would like to say the same. I'm also committed to delivering pensions that do not require us to increase taxes. This plan meets both commitments while permanently solving our pension issues. The next step is to obtain a strong endorsement from City Council on Wednesday. Many of them that are here today, that is reflective of that as well. After that, we head to the Texas legislature for enactment into state law. I want the pension systems to know that what they have agreed to is what we will take to Austin, pending City Council approval. I will fight any attempt to tinker with substantively change any of the language. The proposal on the council agenda will lower the city's annual costs now and in the future, immediately reduce the $7.8 billion unfunded pension liability by more than 30%, set a hard 30-year payoff date for the remaining debt, and force a return to the negotiating table and automatic changes if no agreement is reached, if annual pension costs begin to exceed pre-agreed limits. We are coupling new management and investment principles with changes and benefits put forth by the pension systems for each of their respective retiree groups. These include scaling back cost of living adjustments, higher employee payroll contributions, and phasing out of the deferred retirement option plan known as DROP, which allows employees to begin receiving retiree benefits while continuing to work for the city. The benefits adjustments will be coupled with strict adherence to the following management and investment principles: utilization of a 30-year fixed payoff period for the $5.3 billion in unfunded pension liability that will remain after the immediate $2.5 billion reduction from the benefit changes offered by the three systems. With this plan, we will see significant cost avoidance for what would have to be paid in the absence of reform. For example, next year, the cost avoidance would be approximately $217 million. Recognition of all investment gains and losses as of June 30th, 2016 for all three pension systems. Requirement to fully fund each pension system on an annual basis. Adoption of a more conservative 7% assumed rate of return on pension investments. Issuance of $1 billion in pension obligation bonds to make up for years of prior underfunding of the municipal and police pension systems. This was required in return for the benefit concessions they put on the table. Improve information sharing between the city and pension systems for better projection of pension liability to ensure compliance with the required pay-down timeline, and a mechanism to control rising future costs. We are closer than ever to solving what no one else has been able to solve over the last 15-plus years. The finish line is certainly within reach. I look forward to crossing it hand in hand with each of you, city council members, and all of the three employee systems. And lastly, let me especially acknowledge the work of all three pension employee representatives, the groups, police, municipal workers, and fire. I want to thank them for working with me over the last closely now 10 months. I want to thank all of the employees of the city of Houston, all of our firefighters, police officers, and municipal workers. I know this has been a very stressful time, but I said at the very beginning when we started this process that we would come up with something that would be respectful of people's service, recognizing their contribution to this city, and something that would not undermine them, that we would strive very hard to reach a balanced approach, and I believe we have done just that. And so to all of the city employees, to all of them, let me say to you that we remain committed to you and committed to a sustainable, reliable pension system. And if this plan is ultimately approved, that is exactly what will take place. And we have done it in such a way, that at the end of this process, all three pension groups, in a very historic fashion, are standing shoulder to shoulder with members of City Council on this day. I could not have done this without all of them. And so I want to give a big, strong salute to fire, police, and municipal workers and their representatives for doing an outstanding job in representing their groups. Let me say to the employees in return, as the mayor of the city of Houston, I will do everything that I can as we move forward to make sure that as the city moves forward in a very positive way, that employees are recognized for the work that they do, and that they are paid in a respectful way for the services that they have rendered to this city. It takes all of us working together. And so this is an historic day, but it's historic because this is Houston, and we are one big family, highly diverse, very opinionated, but at the end of the day, we join shoulder to shoulder in pulling and doing the right thing for the people in the city of Houston, and for that, I am eternally grateful. Having said that, Councilmember Jack Christie, who chairs BFA.
Thank you, Mayor. As chairman of the Budget and Finance Committee, I want to tell the taxpayers of this city, this is a big deal. As a fiscal conservative, this city council has balanced a budget $160 million short. It is balanced. And with these actions today, we have a structurally balanced budget for the years in the future. I promised some of the unions when we started on this some years ago, help us, come to the table, help us solve our budget crisis. Every major city in the United States has this challenge. They have come to the table. So to the men and women of the fire department, men and women of the police and the men and women that keep this historic building beautiful and this city beautiful, as taxpayers, find one and thank them. Pat them on the back and tell them thank you for coming to the table and balancing this budget.
Thank you very much, Councilman Christie. And I do want to thank Councilman Borkins for sitting in some of the meetings even today and prior to. So very, very much appreciated. Having said any of that, all of that, are there any questions that anyone can take at this time? Yes, sir. From the feedback and the conversations that I've had, they've all been very positive. I certainly anticipate Chairman Flynn on the House side carrying the omnibus bill, being the author on the House side, and Senator Joan Huffman carrying the omnibus pension bill on the Senate side. And so from the conversation, and we've talked to and briefed many of them on the plan itself. So I'm anticipating a positive response along with other legislators on both sides of the aisle. And I do want to acknowledge, and I'm sorry, let me apologize to the Comptroller, Chris Brown. Where are you, man? Yeah, I'm sorry. You know, this guy from the game last week. But I certainly want to thank and acknowledge Comptroller Chris Brown. I want to thank him for speaking on the pension issue, working with us on the pension issue, and his op-ed on the pension issue. So thank you very much, Chris Brown. Any?
You mentioned that you would fight anything to tinker with the language that's been agreed to in the concern sheets. I have to point out that unless I'm missing anyone, the only representative of the fire pension board here is the city of quarantine. And that board this morning had discussed that, well, we need to scrutinize the language, make sure there's nothing illegal or unconstitutional. They were somewhat tentative in their vote this morning. I wondered if you could comment on that.
Mike, a vote is a vote. Come on, Mike. I think that the vote was strong. If I'm not mistaken, it was 7-2. Mm-hmm. That's a strong vote. So let's go with what the vote is. And then I talked to several of them afterwards who indicated to me that, Mayor, unfortunately, we had other engagement. They did not know about the 2 o'clock press conference. The reality is that this press conference wasn't for certain until after the vote took place. So people are coming at the last minute across the board. Everyone is coming at the last minute.
We all changed our schedule.
Right. But I talked with several of them after the vote, and they didn't pose any reservations at all. And I think the vote speaks for itself. I mean, the reality is this is the first time, from a historic point of view, that all 3 groups are standing together. So let's not have rain when there's sunshine. And there are no clouds in the sky, So, let's not assume because they're not standing when they stood a few hours ago and voted. So that's almost like saying in an election, we get elected and we have a victory party and no one shows up, but we won. I mean. The vote speaks for itself. So no, I am delighted and pleased, and I do want to say to all of the firefighters, especially their representative, I want to thank them. I want to thank them, and same thing with police. I want to thank them, and municipal workers. I want to thank them. Let's not be under any illusion. This was not an easy deal. When you're asking employees to modify their future benefits, this is not an easy deal. And no one should assume that it's easy. And no one should assume that what they did, it just doesn't deserve special recognition. This was a hard deal for them. I understand that. And that's why I do want to thank them for standing up and for signing on, all 3 of them. I think in return, we need to say to our police officers, we stand with you. We pray for you, we stand with you. To our firefighters, we pray for you, we stand with you. To our municipal workers, we pray for you, we stand with you. And to all 3 of them, we appreciate the service that they do. With no employees, city does not function. But they are deserving of a retirement system where you remove the uncertainty, and their pension retirement system should not be a political football every single year. Okay? And what we are doing today provides a sustainable, reliable pension system that's a defined benefit, which is what they want, Their retiree checks that they're getting today are not going down. They're not going down. And I think we have devised a system that is very fair. Fair to taxpayers, because there's no tax rate increase in it. It's cost neutral. And fair to our employees. And it is a delicate balance. If you shift it around, it does not work. It is a delicate balance, and that's why this is the deal. And what I've said to them, if there's any attempt to unravel it, I will not support it. This is the deal. And I will fight for it, and I'm hoping after Wednesday that members of City Council will give a very strong vote for it, because, quite frankly, it will be a strong vote for the future financial stability of our city. Any other? Again, so let me thank you all. Let me thank the members of City Council for standing even before having a vote. Let me thank you all, because, quite frankly, I think what has led to this day. I've spent a lot of time talking about the employee groups, but let me also say this process started when we voted and put together and voted on the budget several months ago. And we did it together. And this has been a process where we have done it together. I would not be standing here in this position were it not for the strong support that we have given to each other in this process. There have been times where we may disagree, but we've always found a way to work things out. And so this is a collective effort. And so I want to thank each member of City Council for their support, for the posture that they have taken, and quite frankly, for standing here today before we're even voting on Wednesday. So again, to all the employee groups, to all of the employees in the city of Houston, let me thank all of you. And then, and I'm sorry, Kelly, Jennifer, and Ron, where are they? If y'all will come this way, come on. Yeah. Now let me say this. Of course, you know I'm the mayor, right? Okay. In the absence of these three individuals, who have spent countless hours and days and working with actuaries and working with all the groups from morning, noon, and late into the night, we would not be standing where we are today. And I would not be able to lay out the plan that is before you. I really want to extend my gratitude to Ron, the city attorney, Kelly, the finance director, and Jennifer, who's just masterful for the work that they have done in this entire process. And in the absence of their work, I can firmly tell you we would not be here today. So please join me in thanking them. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, I know we have not crossed the finish line yet, but let me tell you, I hear the bell ringing, and we're on the final lap. So thank you all, and then we'll just keep working until this thing is finally put to rest. Thank you so very much.
Congratulations, man.